Well, hey guys, hi, Brent Abel here, webtennis.com. Another episode of What's the Right Shot. Today's episode, a little bit different format than what we normally do. This is an interview, I guess we could say, conducted by the great Jeff Jacklich. And, wow, a couple of the ducks flying by. Anyway, and we're to chat about what Mai and I had to do to win our recent National Grass Court Husband-Wife Gold Ball. Here we go. So the big question is this: how do players like us who never made a dime on the Pro Tour, how do we consistently bring out our very best tennis without spending endless hours trying to perfect stroke technique? The answer is knowing where we want the ball to land over there and then where to move to next on the court. Hi, my name is Brent Abel and welcome to What's the Right Shot. Jeffrey, young man, what is going on out there today? Looks like you're up there in beautiful Northern California, Moraga, California, to be exact.
Yeah, does the background look familiar?
Oh, it does. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's looks like it's going to be okay. I got a little time on the court schedule today and tomorrow,
Good. Good.
In these odd, weird times.
Well, and I was just up there a few days ago, and then all of a sudden, Contra Costa County said, we are ordering shelter in place. We're not recommending, we're ordering.
Right.
And so I wasn't there more than 14
You're less than 20, yeah, less than 24.
I said, I'm going back to the desert. So
I'm out.
I'm done. So anyway, I'm back here. Palm Springs has actually got some kind of a shelter in place.
Yeah.
But we're actually in Rancho Mirage. But I'm not going out anyway. I'm not going to go out there. I mean, why would I? Why? There's.
Why would you do it?
Yeah. So, but I am going to hit with Owen today. We're going to go out in the grass courts and hit some balls. So, anyway, what's going on? What's on your mind?
Well, first, big congratulations in order for Mr. Brent Abel and Mai Ichikawa Abel in their gold ball victory. Last weekend, husband-wife national grass court championships at Mission Hills. Huge victory. I watched the whole thing courtside, literally chair on the court.
That's true.
And it was phenomenal. It was just a stellar match. 3 sets, nail biting. I mean, great points. I mean, talk about, surpassing the 0 to 4 average. You guys had some points consistently that were well into the 7 and 8, and in a doubles match, that's very rare to have that kind of quality and reaction and that kind of cat and mouse going on. And there was a lot of that. I thought it was a lot of cat and mouse. It was just a damn fun match to watch. Well, and even more fun to watch you and Mai win it.
Yeah,
no, in the fashion that you did. So,
well,
congratulations.
Well, thank you, and I appreciate you being there. I know you and the posse were there the day before, and I am getting my internet connection is unstable. Sorry about that. I really appreciate your support. And look, it was a gorgeous day out there, right? I mean, the weather was like insane, and the San Jacintos are in the background.
Yeah,
we got that little
Captain Snow.
Oh, it was good. It was good.
Yeah.
It's kind of one of those things where Mai and I have not been playing much in terms of any tournaments recently. I went to Croatia last September and with the team thing. And really, I came back from that just kind of burnt. I mean, I just a couple of years of training and playing and traveling and captaining those knuckleheads in Croatia. And I mean that with all due respect. It was it's a lot of fun. But I just kind of felt like, you know what, I need to kind of cut back. And I'd sort of announced to a few of my good friends, even to you, just going, you know what, I need to back away from this thing. And so when we got into the tournament, we had zero expectations that we would do anything. And actually we had a good draw. We were seated third. We were in the top half of the draw. and the number one seeds we'd actually beaten twice before. We were 2-0 against them, and they were seeded one because they just won the recent indoors last October, November in Denver. And the number two seeds were the guys who we actually beat in the finals. But last year they just crushed us. They'd beaten us 3-2, and as they said.
So I'm going to call a timeout right there.
Yeah,
that's actually going to be my first question.
Okay.
Right.
Let's go.
Is because of that, because that final match was just so good, and it was intense, and it was nail biting, and because it flowed back and forth, so how did you and Mai approach this match? Because like you just said, they kind of took you to the cleaners last year,
right?
And now you got an opportunity for a little revenge, a little retribution in the finals, and you've got this team that kind of put you in your place last year. Now you're in the finals against them with an opportunity. So how did you approach this match with that, kind of the history there?
Yeah, well, last year we played them literally 40 to 50 mile per hour winds. It was insanity out there. It's kind of just like, I mean, why are we even playing? But we had to play, and a couple things, they just sort of handled the weather better than we did. I was just kind of, I don't know. I was just, I was just not in a great spot mentally with all the wind. Mai doesn't really enjoy the wind that much either. And we should. I mean, look, we play frequently out here in the wind. It's right in our home backyard. But it seemed like last year too was we tried to play more standard traditional doubles, and where we would get put away opportunities last year, we'd kind of go for the standard opening. Could be the middle, could be wherever. Right. And it just happened last year. I couldn't believe it, Jeff. It was like time after time I'd get this fat sitter and I'd do something, and the guy, David Ryan, he'd be there and just like I'd crush it and he'd just go, lob volley winner. I go, no. And it wasn't like once in a while. It was like over and over again. So this year, when we knew that we were going to play them, this is kind of the night before, we just said, look, let's try something different than what we did last year. I don't know if this is going to work, but we did two things that really made a big difference. Is number one is when Mai was serving to Deborah Ryan, is we decided that I had to play I formation because we really wanted to make sure that, and Deborah's good. I mean, and she last year she was getting a lot of cross court returns, which would end up in front of David. And this guy, as you saw, is just a little water bug out there. I mean, he's so quick. And he's a really good player. So we said, look, we got to eliminate that situation. So every time Mai served to her, we went I formation, and then the other thing was when she was serving to me, when Deborah was serving to me, I just started lobbing cross court back to her. Right. Rather than trying to lob up the line over him. I just lobbed cross court to her, and a couple of really good things happened. Is number one is that when the serve's coming in, all I have to do is lob straight back up the line of the, the angle. The
send it back to where it came from.
Exactly, and I didn't have to sort of change the angle on it. And she didn't really serve and volley, and even if she did come in, she didn't really have a pounding overhead like he did. And then I felt like. So that was kind of the first, or those are the two strategic things that we decided to try and do. And then I think the other thing that I didn't realize until after the match is that once we got into the point without him disrupting the point initially, I think we won most of those longer points that you just described. Primarily because I felt like I could hang with him. I mean, on singles court, I'm not sure if I win a game. I don't know. But in the doubles thing, I felt like I could hang with him in terms of volleys and all this kind of stuff and balls down low. And I knew that Mai was better than she was. in those types of exchanges.
Right.
So those are the two conscious changes that we decided to at least try.
Right.
And you never know if this is going to work or not. But I mean, God, the first set,
Yeah.
we're up
You got,
4-0 in the first set. And then
yeah.
of course I get broken at 4-0. And then we finally keep working the set, and then it's 5-3, me serving. I get broken at 5-3.
Right.
Oh boy, here we go. And then when we end up getting to 5-all, and then it's my serve. And I think we were down. I mean, might have been love 40, but I think it was 5-40. I mean, we were down.
Yeah, I think so.
And I was just going, well, this is not good. And and sure enough, it just we just kind of held on to that, and then we broke her.
Right. Right, for the set.
Yeah. So
I think watching the match, that first set, you came out really, before you went to the lob, you came out really knifing your backhand return really well cross court when she was serving at you. You get the ball down low, and so there's a lot of opportunity there. And I think what I was observing is, like, when you guys hit that, when you got broken, it's almost like you retreated to standard doubles. You kind of lost your way a little bit with the strategy and playing a little more cat and mouse rather than trying to get it. So you kind of started, now here's the floater, I'm going to end the point now, and that really was counterproductive for you and mine. And so I felt like, as I'm watching, kind of going, come on, get back on track.
Yeah.
What you were doing,
Yeah.
and go ahead and stay in the point one more hit longer, and don't worry about finishing and exiting the point. But that's what I was observing, is like, come on. So then you held on, and then I thought, as you got into the second set, that idea got away from you.
Well, I think
a little bit.
I think it's kind of a mental reality, is that you're playing a team who really beat you up bad a year ago.
Right.
And you're kind of thinking, well, maybe this is one of those teams that we just are never really going to have much of a chance against.
Right.
And so you, all of a sudden, you're kind of playing with house money the first part of the match, and going, oh my God, we're up 4-0.
Right.
There's something I don't know here that's going on.
Right.
And the next thing you know, then all of a sudden it's a dogfight, and you're right. We sort of lost that looseness, that, hey, we really don't have anything to lose here. We got a little plan, but
right. I think, well, it's that little shift. You're up 4-0, you lose a game on your serve, and it's weird how all of a sudden you can lose all of your confidence in a flash.
Right.
Where literally you feel like you're in trouble, and yet you're up 4-1.
Right.
It's just a mind screw.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you start thinking about, you're up 4-1, but he's serving, and mentally you're kind of going, well, we're probably not going to break this guy. And then you're going, and then you start thinking, and then we'll have my serving at 4-2. And then you're kind of going, what do we have to do to hold her serve and
right.
stuff. And so you're right. You can start to get ahead of yourself in terms of the score.
Right.
And that can, all of a sudden, that can kind of just squeeze you into,
right.
Because
that's this. You guys clawed your way and held on to the first set, and then they did it to you, where you guys were down 4-1, I think, in the second.
Yeah.
Was it 4-1 or 4? Yeah. And then you guys clawed your way back, and you did it by, kind of backing off a little bit, and Mike got her lob going, and a good combination of up and then soft down and up, and I think by the time you got to the end of, even though you didn't pull it off, you lost the second set in the tiebreaker. I felt like Mai kind of found her rhythm in lobbing the gal, where it was just one after the other. And what I observed as I was watching that kind of unfold was the other gal started trying to get out of the point. She would get a little bit like, I'm tired of lifting my arms and going up for another lob. And so then anything kind of high, I noticed she was going out to the wings and just missing wide,
Right.
or dumping a lot of balls in the net, and it's like, so I felt like, gosh, I hope they can keep it together, even though they've just, lost the second set. So the next question is, how did you guys then, after you losing the second set, right, another dogfight and two close sets, you're split, you're changing sides now. And so how did you and Mai, kind of keep mentally and emotionally keep it together for the third?
Well, we just tried to kind of clear the slate. I mean, just kind of wipe everything clean. And just our thought was, we have to make her beat us.
Mm-hmm.
We have to. And I think that was, that was something I forgot that we had sort of decided before the match. I mentioned those two things in terms of strategy wise, but the other thing was, we just said, we can't let him be the one that beats us. We got to make her step up. And so what that requires is that some traditional put away opportunities, you might go somewhere, and not that we're trying to hit her or hurt her or anything like that, but we're hitting balls down to her feet where she can touch them, but we're going to make sure that she's the one that reflexes something incredible, or she's the one that does something great, and not him. And the other thing I told Mai is that well, I told her a couple of things. I said, David's going to start missing some overheads, because he'd been just pounding, and the guy's so athletic. He can jump through the roof, through the building. And I just thought, he's just going to start missing some. I didn't know if he was going to, but I didn't want her to think that, well, I got to really fine tune any kind of lob. And so it was that thought of, she has to beat us. He's going to start missing some overheads. And babe, how about this? This is just like Saturday and Sunday, where we have the grass court stuff organized for us, the doubles, and we're coming out here. It's 11:30. It's a beautiful day. Let's just feel like we do on those days, which is just incredible. And trying to get out of the thought of God, I've got to squeak through. I got to win. I can't miss that. Let's just have some.
Well, I think that, there's a danger in there too. When you start almost, hyper defining the strategy, then every ball becomes, this has to be hyper accurate. And that's a sure recipe for getting tight. Grip tension increases. You want the ball to be so accurate and hit your target. And sorry, I didn't get that down low enough. Yet they just squeeze some incredible knee-high volley, for a winner or something. It's, I didn't get that low enough. Come on, So I think that's a great, great kind of mental checkpoint. It's like, are we still having fun here? Because that's, obviously, you're a husband-wife team, and so that kind of, are we out here as a team, or are we out here trying to, win a gold ball? And yes, you are, but are we doing this together, and how are we going to accomplish that? Because I watched, the third set, then Mai really found a great balance between returning and hitting that lob over the gal's head, or up to the gal, even though they were short sometimes. You squeezed and stepped in the gap, and you hit the volley back, or whatever was happening. But Mai just kept going there. And then she occasionally would throw in the regular return cross court.
Right.
And I think that helped keep, what's his name? Ryan?
David,
keep him kept him honest a little bit, where, as you kind of focused on the gal and hands up again, here we go, hands up again. And you can see that he starts cheating the center of the court then, and trying to cover more court than you should, when the minute you can get, one of the opponents to start doing more than they should, that's a great place to get the other team into, because now it not only focuses on one opponent, but then the other opponent's half the court becomes a little thin, meaning there's opportunity there to really squeeze them and make them feel pressured that every time they hit the ball, they have to do something great with it.
Right. Right.
You know.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's right about Mai's return in the third set. David was really trying to take over as much as possible, and
Yeah.
I think he
Yeah.
felt that pressure that he needed to. His serve is good. It's a nice spin serve. But by the third set, we're already 2 hours into it. Mai by then had just settled into, I got it. I got this. No matter what he does, I got it. And
Right.
if he takes me out wide, then I'm just going to lob over her. But you're right. I mean, she would take, depending on where the ball was coming in. She wasn't forcing it, but if she got
Nope.
just the right ball, then she would either forehand or backhand because Deborah wasn't going to poach.
Right.
That
Right.
was a total given. That Mike could go ahead and top it over there to him. And
Yeah.
and the other thing, I told myself I didn't want to tell Mai because I didn't want her sort of having that additional thought in her mind. But a lot of times when she was serving to him, well, not a lot of time, almost every time, I was at least fake poaching off of
Right.
her serve. And then I just told myself, Brent, you've got to insert yourself over there once in a while.
Right. You
Uh,
actually have to go. Right.
I've got to go off of his return. And so, um, and every time I went, it was an early fake and a comeback, and then a go.
Yeah.
And I think that was frustrating for him. I know I did it on some points where I just said, worst case, he goes up the line, but I trust my partner so much because she is so freaking fast
Right.
that
She's a
I'll be
gazelle.
able to go over there and just lob that thing cross court.
Yeah.
The other thing I want to say is that most of the good husband wife teams, um, see, how am I going to say this? Because it's with total respect. Most of the time, the guy is a better doubles player than the gal, right?
Yeah.
Bigger serve, bigger shots,
Yeah.
a little bit
Yeah. He
better
hits the ball
movement,
harder and yeah.
overhead, all this kind of stuff. So it really comes down to which one of the two gals is going to play the best on that day.
Right.
And one thing I don't feel with Mai that I think some of the other guys do, and I know that David felt this with Deborah. And again, I'm not disrespecting her at all because she's one heck of a doggone good tennis player. But I never feel that I need to do anything extra.
Right.
As I might, I mean, it's like I'm playing men's doubles. I don't, I've got a guy. I don't feel like I need to do anything extra. Well, the same thing with her. I know that, first of all, she is like a little water bug out there. She's super quick.
Right.
So I don't have to, worry about lobs going over her. I don't have to worry about if someone drop shots her. I just kind of chuckle when someone tries to drop shot her on grass where the ball barely bounces. And I'm going, okay, you guys are in deep crap right now because she's going to go over there. They're all going to close, and she's just going to feather this little lob over them. But that's a real bonus that I have, is that I don't have to cover for her, where I think a lot of the other guys do, and there's stress in that for them. Not only is there mental stress, but there's physical stress. You've got to do more, and you've got to put your body in some awkward positions, trying to knock off the overhead because you've now crossed on your partner's side of the court. I guess in terms of, the coaching thing with this is that if you've got a doubles partner that's not quite up to your level, that's okay. Let them play.
Yeah.
And if it means that they're not great at the net, let them play from the baseline. There's so many things that they can do from back there. And
so let's circle back here really quick.
Yeah.
Before you get off the because that was one of my questions is, what do you think the reason that what makes you and Mai such a great team? And so you kind of just explained that, like that, Mai is she's a great athlete. And she's ultimately just so physically fit that once she finds her stride in a match, you know, she doesn't fear the guys hitting hard at her. She, you know, she gobbles that up like, you know, like here, like, oh, please, you know, bring
Right.
it on.
Right.
And so I think that's a great, you know, obviously that asset for any husband wife teams out there, you know, that the asset of how fit can you both be going into those matches, you know, playing at the national level, and even at the league level. It's like, you want to be better, get more fit. Again, we've been preaching that, you know, all last year and into this year. And so, you know, that asset right there, you know, a great athlete and really physically fit are, you know, the great athlete part, she's gifted. You know, we'll just, we just, you know, you can't train that, you know, but you can train to become, you know, more fit. And I guarantee you, when you feel more fit, you move more like an athlete.
Of course.
Naturally, in all those things. So I think for you guys, you know, in terms of a kind of a unique combination, is you have that unique combination where you don't feel like you can let Mai handle whatever comes her way without feeling like you need to help her out. And in fact, I got a feeling like if you stick your nose in there too often, she's going to hit you in the back of the head with a racket and say, what the heck are you doing, right? Why don't you mind your own business? You know, it falls under that category. Just because you can doesn't mean you should.
That's right. No, that's true. Well, look,
right.
I think
so. Go ahead.
Well, a really clear advantage that we have too is that we have the righty lefty thing.
Yeah,
going.
another advantage, right? Right.
So we never ever have to serve in the sun, and I don't know, you know, you probably saw that. You know, the start of the third set after the second set.
Yeah.
They won. We had to switch sides, which you do after tiebreaker. You switch sides. Well, that put them on the sunny side where she had been serving the whole time, the first two sets.
Right.
So he had to make the decision: do I let her serve again and for the first in the third set, or do I serve? And so he chose to serve that first game in the third set. And you could see him putting up some practice tosses, not liking it, trying to figure it out. And we broke him. You know, we broke him that first game, and then we switched, and then we had the decision. Okay, you know, I've got, you know, a little bit better serve, but I'm thinking, now wait a minute, I've been broken at least 3 times.
Right.
Which is you know, a combination of whatever. I mean, it's both partners that end up contributing to that. But we hadn't lost my serve yet, and so I just, you know, she said, hey, you know, once you serve on this side, what do you think? And I said, no, you're serving great. We've held your serve every time.
Yeah.
Come on, let's go. So that game, though, we did get into another one of those pickles where, again, it was either 540 or love 40, and we had to switch out of it. But to me, that was the game that turned around the match, was holding her serve at 1-love in the third.
Yeah.
And
I agree. That was big.
It was a big deal. So we have that going. I mean, we have that lefty righty thing going. And what sort of, and that's really the only, I think, the things that kind of make us unique. I mean, I mean, look, fitness is a commodity. Anyone, if you want to,
right,
you could choose to get fit. Well, you're right. She chooses to get fit a couple times a day.
Right. You know? So what was the score in the final set?
6-2.
6-2. Yeah, great finish too. Because once you got, you know, Mai held, you guys really then played this, like I said, this great balance of up, low, cat and mouse kind of stuff. And then, like I said, they started trying to like exit the point. I thought, you know, they started getting, it felt like they were getting a little anxious. Like they could feel like it was slipping away a little bit. And then both were trying to do more with the high balls and not getting out of the point. And then so every ball after that becomes squeezed a little tighter, tried to hit a little more accurate, a little harder. And all of a sudden here, lots of overheads in the net. You know, he gaffed a couple straight like laser beams to the back fence, you know.
That's right.
And so it was I thought you guys just found a great combination of kind of cat and mouse, of really, you know, testing their skills at the most unique time, you know. So let me ask you this, and so you kind of started to go there. So what do you think is the like number one key, not for you because we just finished talking about that, but what do you think the number one key is to a successful husband-wife team?
Well, the first key is that is you got to make sure that that you do have some fun. That when you come off the court, win or lose, and this is huge cliche. It's easy for me to say, but I've seen so many just disasters out there
Right.
where a guy thinks he's going to coach up his wife in this event, and she's only out there because, my gosh, I mean, here we are in Palm Springs. We live in Chicago. We live in in somewhere where
Right.
the winter's been just horrible, and now they get to go to Palm Springs on the grass in March. It's gorgeous, and she's just out there just wanting to have a little vacation, have some fun, and spend some time with her spouse. And he's out there going, "Come on, babe, we got to get this time.
Right.
Let's go. Okay, come on, you got to get up there net. You got to put it away. You got to do it."
Got to make the return. Oh, thanks.
I'm just going. Why don't you guys just here's your entry fee. Go into Palm Springs and shop today and have a great time. This is not what you want to be
doing. Go have some lunch and a cocktail.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And I've seen it, and it's just brutal.
Right.
First of all, because the guys, I mean, any guy who's good, who's really good, would never do that. I mean, the guys I'm thinking of. But there's some Yahoo guys out there that aren't very good players that think that I'm going to man up and blah blah blah. Well, no, you're not. So number one is to make sure that win or lose. And look, we've lost some heartbreakers where we just kind of go, it's like you said, let's go to lunch and have a beer or two.
Right.
I mean, but I think that said, as long as you can do that, then you got a real shot at making sure that it's fun. Because again, most of the time, there is a skill level disparity between the man and the woman. Occasionally, it's the gal who's like, I can think of the Roses from Northern California, Leslie Rose. I mean, she's playing the tour. She's really good, really good.
Right.
Her husband, a great guy, but not just not quite there. And thank goodness, because if he was good, I'm not sure if there'd be any gold balls at this house.
Any left.
Yeah. Anyway, and Neil, I love you, man. If you're listening to this thing, so I think that once you get there, then it's kind of like is figuring out what do each one of us do well, and start from there. Don't go, well, you're deficient in this area, so you need to. It's not going to happen. I mean, we're talking about, well, I guess there's now 4 age groups. There's open. So, I guess as long as you're legal, you could play. But the senior thing is, they take the combined ages of the spouses, 100 and over, 120. And this is my first year in the 120s. Along with the Ryans. The Ryans beat us last year badly in the 100s, but and then 140s. And so we're talking about senior tennis players. We're talking about people who are 50 plus. Are you going to make a dramatic difference in your doubles skill level when you go out and play this tournament?
Say that again. Say that again, because we lost a little connection there.
Okay, so you're 50 plus, and the chances of you being able to make a wholesale dramatic change in what your unique skill level is at the tournament against
during a match, right?
Not going to happen. So I would tell you guys, whoever's the better player is the one who really needs to make sure that their spouse feels comfortable with what they bring to the party. Right. And look, I mean, I look at Michelle Williams, the former Michelle de Palmer, the de Palmer Bollettieri thing. Yeah. And she and Bob are, I mean, they're one of the top teams. I mean, her shoulder, she played in the tour a little bit, got to like 80 in the world in the WTA, but her shoulder got blown out. So she doesn't have much of a serve. She doesn't have much of an overhead. She stays back most of the time on grass.
Yeah.
And she will not laser beam. She's not from that school, the recent school of big, heavy toppers. She just has a nice flowing forehand, a nice flowing backhand that, gosh darn it, lands right at the guy's feet over, and it doesn't matter where the guy
Over.
is. It just lands
Right.
there every time. And the guy's going, can I hang it? And Bob's going, boom, thank you. So
Yeah.
they're working in tandem. She's working from the backcourt, just,
Right.
and maybe it's a lob. Maybe she lobs over the gal. But the point is that Bob is not telling his wife,
Right.
hey, babe, you got to be serving a volley. Hey, oh, could you kind of kick that thing up now? And
Yeah.
and
You got to get in.
she's
Got to get in.
she's throwing in a, you know, a 3 rotator serve
Right.
that sits up,
Right.
right? And Bob's doing his little thing. He's sort of faking and shaking and baking up there, and
Right.
just distracting. And they return it back to her, and she goes, ho hum. Oh, there are your feet. Okay.
Yeah.
And she just lays it in over there. So, fellas, if you've got a bride who loves to sit back in the baseline, wow, take advantage of that and work out
Right.
a game plan based on that.
Yeah.
Uh,
And that's, even the subtlety of that has to be addressed, and has to be understood and looked at, like you just described. She doesn't hit laser beams from back there. She has the ability to cat and mouse from the baseline. She
That's right.
knows where to lay the ball down, and all that. So that's a different strategy than telling your partner, okay, just stay back on the baseline and wail on forehands. Well, first
Totally.
they have to be able to wail on a forehand, and can they do that? Yeah, are you asking them to do something that they still can't do? What is their actual skill set?
Yeah.
Because like when I play with Erica, she can play the soft little roller cross court, but she has a massive forehand when she feels like unloading on it. So
God, that's
yeah,
loud. It's so loud,
it's
that
like,
forehand.
ouch. You see the opponents kind of go,
That's right.
because here it comes, and it goes in,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So we have the ability to have a slightly different approach to when I tell her to stay back. She knows what she's going to do with that, and it's a combination of both those things, because there's the other half of that skill set. So I think in that regard, it's important that we just don't, guys, it's not a dictatorship. Don't just assume, okay, you're going to stay back, then just stay back and do this. Again, are you asking them to do something that's not in their skill set? What do they do well from the baseline? If they don't like to be at the net, obviously they like to be somewhere. Where is it they like to be, and what's their favorite thing to do? Okay, how do we incorporate that into a viable double strategy? And what do I have to do as your partner to help support that? And how do I take advantage of what you do? Right. And I think, that's where I think a lot of players and a lot of teams get lost, is, again, circling back to last year's, thumping is, tennis theory is great, but, boots on the ground experience says, you would be a fool to tell oh, listen, you got to stick the return. You got to get, and then you got to rush in behind it. You gotta. You'd be smiling this morning and probably a couple teeth missing, because,
Or just telling her serve volley, right? I mean, she can serve volley, but she really picks her times to do it. She's
yeah,
and as winning points, she's way more effective. Throw the serve in, let me fake, if it's a standard
yeah,
thing where they're going to return cross court, and then she can feather that lob, which is just unfair. It's almost, I
right.
mean, I just pity those people sometimes where I see that lob go up, and it's not deep enough to where it's an automatic switch,
Right,
but it's just deep enough to where they got to consider, well, maybe I should be taking this. And then they go,
right,
and then it's just like a meeting of the two partners over there. And it's just
right.
like a collision, an intersection. I
Yeah,
don't know.
it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
when
Sorry.
you're on your side of the net, it's a
Right.
beautiful thing.
That's right. That's right.
All right. Well, that was really, what I had for you here. I just want a couple of basic questions, and because obviously there's a lot of mixed. There you go, baby. That's what it looks like.
That's it. You can
Tilt
see it.
it. There you go. Tilt it up a little bit.
This
There,
way.
yeah. Yeah, no, back, yeah, not that quite that far, right about there, yeah, because otherwise the light gets it, so
Okay.
people can see it. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, it's
Awesome.
a nice little wooden box, and it not pure gold, I'm sure. Um, and and
All
and
right.
and look, the first time you win one of these things, guys, don't get so excited and go bronze it. You don't want to do that.
That's right. Well, it's a
So
good thing it's down there because I'm looking at the shelf across the table, and there's no more room on that top shelf here in Moraga, dude. So congratulations
well,
again.
thanks, man. Thank you. And yeah, again, totally unexpected. And I mean, I look back at some of the tournaments I've won, and I've kind of gone into them with really low expectations. And
Right.
not that it's an excuse that if well, if I lose, okay, ho hum, I really didn't expect to do anything, or I didn't. Um, but I still, I mean, I think you still think that, look, I'm entering the tournament. I am prepared. I'm fit. I've been playing enough tennis. What's to say I can't win this tournament? And there's nothing.
Yeah.
There's nothing. As opposed to entering a tournament, going, God, we should win this tournament. All right, we got the great draw. We're in the top half. We've beaten the number one seeds. We're 2-0
Yeah.
against them. Well, I mean, the quarterfinals of this tournament, we're playing the Hofsteins from Philadelphia, and he's just blowing us up. He is just serving huge, taking this forehand, and she's not missing a ball. We're trying to hit balls at her, and she's just going,
Yeah.
okay. Things are coming back. We lose first set, and I'm going, wow, okay. And this in the quarters, and we kind of get to go in the second. We win the second set 6-1, but in the quarters they were playing a super tiebreaker for the third, and we squeaked that thing out 10-7. I mean, it was
Yeah.
not a beauty contest by any means, and we could have been out of there. I mean, and
Right.
I was fully expecting that at some point in that first set I was going, I'm not sure we have a play against this guy today. I mean, I
Right.
don't know what to do, and she refuses to miss, so bad combo for us.
Yeah.
But once we got through that, and then we played the number one seeds that afternoon, and we just kind of got going. That was really kind of the match where,
Yeah.
again, didn't feel any pressure. They were seeded one. They just won the gold in the indoors a few months prior. But we've had success against them. We beat them once in
Right.
the grass and once in the clay. Never lost to them. And I just said, why not? Why not let's just relax and go.
Yeah.
And my God, well, you were there for that match, and
Yeah.
and she got going, and
Yeah.
and then once you get in the finals, you go, why not?
Why not?
Why the heck not? One of the things I want to mention that sort of helped me in the semis and the finals. In the semis, we played it in the afternoon because we'd had rain a couple of days during the week of the tournament, rained out, so we had to double up on that day with the quarters and the semifinals. And so we played that tough quarterfinal match in the morning, and then in the afternoon, I mean, I was so loosey-goosey by already having played two sets in the Super TB that I was really feeling the ball and feeling pretty confident. And the next day, I decided I'm going to make sure I get at least a 40-minute, 35, 40-minute good hit before we played.
Yeah.
And I think that this is something that it certainly has always helped me. When you then get into the match like 30 minutes later,
Yeah.
I just kind of, I'm not thinking about,
Yeah.
I've already felt the ball, and I've already,
Yeah.
I've felt hitting through the ball, and I've already built that. And I think every day we go out, we have to sort of rebuild that little foundation of
Yeah.
confidence that you get after you've played a while. And it's not smart to go out there in a final and not have hit. And by the
Right.
time you're down 2 breaks in the second, you start to feel the ball. No,
Right.
not great.
It's very hard to make the end of the match farther away,
That's
so you
right.
have time to catch up.
Yeah.
I think that's a good point though on the warm up. I know that when I have the opportunity to actually get my hit in, and literally within minutes be able to walk onto the court and feel like I could just start serving and just start the match right now. I don't need to hit with these guys.
Right.
I think I love that continuity in being able to warm up and do it. it's not always possible at a lot of these events, especially like at the Wilson, because it's all the age groups and court time is so squeezed. So you've got to like manage, like I need to go hit this morning at 10, even though our match is at 2.
Right.
Because it's the only time we're going to get a court and this, and then maybe you squeeze 5 minutes in when you see somebody, you know, win a match and the match is over. You get 5 minutes in, maybe just a quick something. So it's a little bit more of a challenge at some of the events. But when you can, like you had the opportunity to get a good solid hit in, and a good sweat, put on a fresh shirt, and you know, let's rock and roll. I love that kind of continuity.
Well, and one of the things I did is we'd already come up with our strategy that, you know, when she was serving to me, I was going to lob back to her. At least that was going to be one of the options if the, you know,
Yeah,
if the standard thing wasn't working. And so I had Owen serve a bunch of balls to me in the ad court, and I just lobbed them back to him. I just lobbed them. So it wasn't like a it wasn't like a foreign thing once we got into the match with the Ryans. I'd already felt that shot 20 times.
Right. Right. So here's a hot tip for everybody. Okay. Hot tip. Okay. Tip.
Okay.
Actually, it should be standard issue procedure. And I see a lot of doubles teams make this mistake. And that is when you're warming up to return serve, just return from the side you're going to return on that day. Don't waste any time seeing serves on the other side, because you're not going to see one all day. You've got to figure out that day, where's the rhythm? Am I seeing the cross court? And do that. And then your partner steps up and do that. If you want to serve a few to the other side, go ahead. But don't waste time, you know, returning serve, you know, 20 serves from the other side that you're not going to be looking at. You need to get so tuned in to what's the actual match play going to look like. And I think that's another thing that players can kind of get lost in the warm-up, you know, in that pre-warm-up before you get to the court to actually warm up for your match. But it's another kind of procedural thing that you should incorporate. Players should incorporate into their warm-up.
You and I know, Jeff, that the team that returns serve the best tends to win the matches because it takes the pressure off of them having to hold, and it puts more pressure on the other team to have to break. The thing I would also tell you in the warm-up is what I was doing too, is I'd hit a couple of standard cross-court returns when Owen was serving to me. I hit a couple of lob returns back to him, and then I hit a couple of other lobs up the line.
Yeah.
And I took a couple of forehands and just kind of played them where that net player would be. Not trying to hit a winner, not trying to hit it. Let's see how hard I can hit it. I just want to get the feeling of how do I put the ball there. And so it's important to get a feeling, not to practice, not to work through it, not to figure it out, but just to hit a few of each of those types of returns, because you've got cross court, you've got lob, and you've got a standard, you know, up at, I'm not going to say up the line, but I'm not going to say up the alley, but a standard ground stroke, forehand or backhand, right back at that net player.
Right.
And if you'll hit 4 or 5 each of those, you're good to go. You're good to go.
I would throw this in there too. If you're starting to incorporate, if the second serve it's viable and you can actually hit the drop shot off the second serve, is the server serving and staying back on the second serve? That might be something that happens over the course of a match where you're pounding them so hard on the return, they decide to stay back, and that changes the dynamic. And all of a sudden you're not having the same success because they've changed their strategy. Well, you know what? You might want to start in the warm-up, you know, not when you're with them, but in your private warm-up, you know, throw some second serves at me and let me, you know, let's start knocking some down off the service return and knocking some drop shots down, you know, to, again, have that possibility in your tool bag that day.
I think the other thing too is that in mixed doubles, it's pretty common to see an I formation. It's pretty common.
Right.
And so what I would suggest is that you have your partner, if you guys are warming up together before the match, is serve from where most servers serve from when they play I formation. And for me, I mean, my standard return off the I is just up the line. It's up the alley.
Yeah, I do the same. As soon as I see I formation or Australian, I'm going singles line is my landing strip. That's where I'm headed.
That's exactly right. So why not practice? You know, a few of those too. So cool. All right, man.
Congratulations again. Fantastic.
Oh, it was fun. It was fun. We had the glow is still there. It's been what, 5 days, something like
Yeah.
that. But it's really kind of weird. I've had a little rough time sleeping for a few nights, the first few nights, because I'd lay down in bed and my mind would go back to all these points, and I
Yeah.
just start
I mean,
playing them over again, and I just going, God, man, and I did not sleep
yeah.
well for a couple of nights, but
It was a great match. Lots of great points. Well, we had a great afternoon, that's for sure, celebrating on El Paseo there with a few cocktails and
that
a
was
nice
fun.
lunch. So that was fun.
That was fun. Well, listen, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's interview, podcast, whatever you want to call it. Would love to read and respond to your comments down below. I'm assuming we're going to post this all over the interwebs, and
Yes.
it'll be at gold ball hunting. It'll be at
I'm gonna print it out and post it on some telephone poles around the neighborhood.
Good. But seriously, so a couple things. Wherever you are, if you're over at Gold Ball Hunting, we would love for you to subscribe to the YouTube channel there. It's free. Would love for you to like the video.
Like it.
And again, we
Share
want to, share it. And we want to read and respond to your comments. Same thing at Web Tennis. I'm going to put this at Web Tennis too. If you've not subscribed yet to the Web Tennis YouTube channel, please do so. All the other buttons you can push, just start banging away at all the different buttons there. And Jeff, any parting words before I get into my little see you later?
Well, I'd say these are interesting times we're in right now. Stay safe. Keep your wits about you, and we're here to help each other.
Yeah, no.
Well, look, we're here to be human beings to each other, and to be reasonable, and to where there's help that can be extended, extend help, extend grace. Everybody's there. There's nobody who's not affected by this. So be kind to one another.
Love it. So I'm not going to tell you to actually literally get out there and help someone else today, but maybe call someone, maybe email someone, text someone. Hey, anything I can do for you?
And I'd say, anybody that's looking for, again, to keep your tennis game moving here in these weird times, we're available for coaching online. If you've got some footage of a match you've done, you want us to do some analytics, something,
Sure.
we can set that up and, help you out, keep it moving, keep improving.
Yeah. Well, and as I've always said, the learning can actually happen off the court as well as on the court. And video is a great way to do that. Hey, Jeff, thanks, man. I really appreciate you doing this. And guys, until next time, help someone else somehow. Social distancing, whatever it is. But we'll definitely see you next time.
Right on.
So guys, hope you enjoyed today's episode of What's the Right Shot. One more thing before you go, right down below in the description area, I've got another free video for you. There's a link there. Go ahead and click it. And as always, come on now. Got to get out there today. Help someone else have a spectacular day.